What a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patreon, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon, so a massive shout out of thanks and appreciation to Neo the One, Lost Cat FE, Rob W, Open Minded, Reese Pound, Dal West Watson, Mike, Henrik86, Muted, Dick Earth Skeptic, TheFlatEarthChannel.com, Chris Hillman, NA Literalist, Maria Neelands, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, Rob H, Burn Fat Till My Stomach is as flat as the earth, Nathan Thompson, The Real Gabster, Wind Rider, Missouri Bear, Liam Nedrick, Dank, Erwin Jennisons, Abraham Mohammed, Dave Rakia Gafford, Naibai, Adrian Quintana, Skeptic936, Life is Short, Fireball X, Felix Hung, Texas Mike, Edwin Johnson, Kirsten Smith, Tina Baker, Alexander Main, and David Wayne Foster. So a massive shout out of thanks and appreciation to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Now I'm going to raise the mic on whoever is in the G Plus and Discord stream, so you can enjoy the dulcet tones of whoever the hell is in there while I set up for today's live show.
It being contained.
You what? I just caught the end of that.
That's the dump shit, dumpty, whatever his name is. Says he can pour gas on a scale without a container and weigh it.
Yeah, listen, I've got something to ask. Nathan, are you paying attention?
Yes.
So, gas pressure go down, go boom boom is Stingy's in phrase, right? What's his name? Thunderfoot, right? And Rumpus says that gas pressure put into a vacuum chamber wouldn't go down, go boom boom. He said he agrees it'd bounce off the walls of the container and become the medium, and there would be a minuscule increase in pressure. In a vacuum, water boils initially, and then I think freezes. And superhelium fluids can be created in really cold temperatures, and vacuums are supposed to be cold and all that temperature. What I'm getting at is the temperature inside the vacuum would have an effect on a gas molecule that you inject to see what it could imaginarily do, right? Whether it'd gather on the floor as a shell of helium or whatever, or whether it'd bounce off the walls of the container. The temperature is going to play a role. In a vacuum, am I right in saying that the temperature's freezing and it would cause the gas? Would the gas still remain a gas particle in a vacuum if the temperature's cold?
Right, first of all, let's just get some clarity about what we're talking about. What vacuum?
In their so-called vacuum of space, we say gas pressure would not go down, go boom boom, like against Thunderfoot. But Rumpus agrees that it would become the medium, and the helium pressure that you put into it would become pressure. But have we considered the effect of temperature on the thing? Because in space, isn't space meant to be like an absolute zero, like Kelvin of zero and minus 230 or whatever it is Celsius? Wouldn't that effectively solidify the helium into a liquid and then a gas?
It's spreading out in all directions. Hypothetically, if the sky was a vacuum, then the gas would expand in all directions rapidly. It's not travelling in pairs to then freeze and bond back together again. It's separating in all directions as a gas. So regardless of the temperature, it's all dispersed, right? All the particles aren't next to each other anymore. Unbonded, flying randomly, freely, individually in all directions. So no, regardless of the temperature change, they're not going to suddenly come together. What, by gravitational accretion? What's your next begging the question fallacy? We're talking about a hypothetical sky vacuum we don't have.
Isn't space considered to be absolute zero? That minus 200 and...
No,
270?
No. That's what they tell you, the sky. They tell you that's what heaven is, right? No, heaven isn't a vacuum. Sky isn't a vacuum. There's no outer space. It's all fake. Hypothetically in a vacuum, what vacuum?
Is this QE?
No. Sleeping Warrior.
Are you the lawyer? I want to ask you a round, flat, square question
Well,
on
this
a
is what
legal
flat earth
point.
debate,
You
isn't
might
it?
be my man.
Maybe there's a middleman here. If you require his services, you've got to go through me. It'll cost you £10.
I was gonna say
Shut
that.
up. No.
You beat me to it.
Interfering with a post office vehicle. What can happen?
Sorry, did you think that was a joke? No, I wasn't joking.
No, seriously. I've got somebody on here, and there's a ranty woman banging the shit out of a post office wagon.
Okay.
Now, it's a post office thingamajig. It's on the Royal Mail, which is a warrant on the business of the Queen. What can happen?
There is an offence of obstructing the delivery of Royal Mail because it's supposed to be the Queen's service, isn't it? And I think there is.
Right. That's what that. I was going to say. I'm not getting into any flat, round, square, gas, high temperature politics. Are absolutely sod all. But I knew it was absolutely something. So what's the?
Give me 5 minutes. Let me look it up, and I'll see what I can find for you.
Let me get it straight. You don't want to comment on the nature of reality, but when it comes to a woman banging on a post office van,
yeah, we're all slinging on the same sheet, aren't we, for that one?
They're the only vehicle.
What did I just walk into?
Yeah, because they're on the Queen's. They're on the monarch's business.
Give me 2 minutes and find out whether there is actually a lot, because it might be a myth that people might think that it might not actually be true. Give me a minute.
Come with a package deal?
In reality, they can't, can they?
oh,
can't
what?
No, it's like in Bolton. If you've got a taxi, you have to have a bale of hay in the back for your horse.
No, it has to be big enough for a bale of hay.
What
Well,
is
I'm sure
happening
that's true.
here?
If that's a bylaw, and you actually have a horse, then yeah, you could be had over a barrel for it.
Oh, but just because you've not got a horse.
No. If you
It's
had
not
a
my
horse,
fault that you haven't got a horse.
no. If you had a horse, plenty of
Yeah,
horses. People have horses.
You had a horse, but it's not. No, because it's not. It works backwards.
Yeah, that bylaw doesn't apply to you.
Just because you've not got a horse doesn't mean you haven't got to have a bale of hay in the back.
No, I realise that.
Sorry,
I realise, but
I
if
know.
you do,
I'm trying to keep
if
up.
you do have a horse, and that's a bylaw in your particular neck of the woods, then you've got to abide by those bylaws. That's just how it is. But if you don't have a horse, then don't worry about that bylaw.
If you haven't got the horse, you don't have to have a horse.
No, you don't. No.
But you have to
just
have a
me
horse.
and Tim that are very
Because
confused
it's a
right now.
hackney cab, you have to have a bale of hay in the back for your horse.
Not
Is
if
this
you
a
don't have
straw
one.
man
Not got a horse.
We could have a
A
lot of fun.
moot point, I know. A moot point, and we're not.
Okay. We could argue about funny bylaws all day. Meanwhile, they've lied to us about the
We'll
nature
get
of
back to
reality.
reality
not a sphere.
in 10 minutes and start there screaming.
Yeah, they've lied to us about the nature of reality as much as it is fun to laugh at funny bylaws.
Active
I was
pouring
trying to
gas on a
think- I
scale.
was trying to figure out how that's got to do with Earth. It's always so confused.
All we want to know, Flatsoid, is have you got a horse? Are you in Bolton?
There's a lot of horses in South Africa. But thus, the Earth is flat.
It is Tuesday, right?
It is.
I think Rumpus on the past show said there's another word for this day. I'd like to know what
Yeah,
it
I'm
is.
trying to remember. I'm trying to think of it.
Might not be Tuesday, depending on when you're watching this or who you are watching this. If you're a channel member, you're definitely watching this on a Tuesday. But if you're not a channel member, then you're not special and you're not watching this on a Tuesday.
Oh, what year is it?
So
Again,
Professor
Flatsoid, what?
Phil Bell said he could pour sulfur hexafluoride on a scale and he can weigh it and it will not move. If it's cold enough, it'll stay there, even till the next day.
That's nice.
Well, Jello works the same way.
No, sulfur
Is he a
hexafluoride is a
moron?
gas. It's a man-made gas, a very, very inert, very dense gas. And does that mean that it doesn't have gaps for the other particles to get between it? Does that mean that it's not affected by entropy? No, not at all. Even if you pour sulfur hexafluoride into a fish tank, over time it will still dissipate. It's called, what's the word? Entropy!
Yes.
Proportional
No,
to
really?
time. Even if it's a very dense gas, yeah, it might take longer. It's just exactly the same. It's still, it's
like-
oh god, it's not like,
it's like-
oh, it's very
sorry.
dense, therefore
Sorry.
second law doesn't apply. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, it's like saying pouring water on the floor is not entropy is not going to take effect. Same thing.
And by the way, it's a man-made gas, so it's not in our air, correct?
It doesn't matter, man-made or otherwise. Man-made to get it very dense, yeah, okay. But does that mean it doesn't happen to be in nature, or we're not breathing it? Yeah, you could definitely put that argument forward. But it doesn't mean entropy doesn't apply. Our argument is about entropy. It's applicable. It's natural law. So what? Present sulfur hexafluoride what? In defiance of natural law? No! It still has the exact same effect of entropy applicable to it.
I agree.
It's
He's a
like
moron.
the higher compound rubber tires that are left in the sun. It takes a long time, but entropy applies compared to a rubber band.
Yeah, I've got the answer to the postal question.
Hold on. Critical stuff. Everyone be silent.
Have a look at Section 84, Subsection 1, Subsection A of the Postal Services Act 2000. It says a person commits an offence if he, and then it says A, without reasonable excuse, intentionally delays or opens a postal packet in the course of its transmission by post. So not opening, but delaying. So if somebody intentionally delays the or opens a postal package in the course of its transmission by post, Section 84, subsection 1, subsection A would apply. And technically, I suppose you could probably be arrested for it, although I suspect you never would be unless there was aggravated reasons or whatever. But the answer is yes, it is technically an offence.
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, how dare you, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by 10th Man, Sleeping Warrior, Flatzoid, and a whole bunch of people in Discord. So welcome, one and all.
Good morning.
Hello.
Definitely not round.
Good morning.
Afternoon.
Nathan, just before we get into housekeeping, is the guy that was asking about the postal mail thing, is he there?
Oh my god. We interrupt this critical housekeeping regarding the nature of reality and existence in general for this important information regarding a law about whether or not disturbing the post may or may not get you arrested. Did you hear the response, my
Well,
friend?
he said it was round at the end.
Is he listening? Is he there? Not there, is he?
More importantly, any evidence of physical, geometric, sphere-edge
sorry,
horizons, formerly known as Earth curvature? Any evidence of that?
Not from my buggy and horse.
Post office man?
No.
Any evidence? Physical, geometric, sphere-edge horizons, formerly called Earth
Well,
curve?
we do have horses that traverse the
Oh, God,
Like-
can we drop the bylaw nonsense we were talking about in the pre-show? Very funny for those of you who are watching this on a Tuesday if you're a member and you're special. However, nature and reality, hello.
Is that the place where boats used to go over?
That's the one. It used to block things in the distance with its physical nature. Hey, Arwin.
Hello. Good afternoon. Oh, we're talking about the curve, are we?
Yeah,
No,
that
we're
missing
actually
Earth
talking about
curve,
the
that's
boat.
right.
About the
We're
what?
talking about
My
horses.
grandson was over yesterday.
Oh,
and he
horses,
still
cool.
gets taught at school the same thing.
Hey, it's
As a
only
proof.
Tuesday.
Horseback riding. I know a lot about horses and horseback riding.
I bet you do. Do you shoot bows and arrows at things off horses by any chance?
No, I've never done that before. You know, I don't think the people that had the horses would appreciate that. I don't think they're insured for that.
Okay.
But hey, it would be cool. I could probably do
We
it.
interrupt this housekeeping session for a detailed explanation of the insurance rates on horses. My God, what is wrong with you?
Lloyd's of London, bow and arrow insurance. Come on, let's hear it.
Let's move on. Any evidence of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
None whatsoever.
No, we'll just assume that the Earth's turning because we see the sky appear to turn, and there just happens to be two rotation points. So rather than accept the equivalence that it could actually be the sky rotating, we'll teach all the children that the Earth's rotating, and then we won't get any evidence to measure it, but we'll calculate it, and we'll tell them that maths is good enough. That's what we'll do.
But what would they ever have had? Sorry, but what? Yeah, they would be in big trouble though during Ragnarok. You know, because hey, if there's no visible stars turning up there, then there's no suggestion beside that the Earth is turning in the first place because there's no motion or anything. It's just those stars turning and all that. You know, if you don't see that, then how are you going to suggest the Earth is even turning?
Well, since there is an actual Coriolis effect, if the Earth was turning, there would be Earth-based Coriolis, and plane flights would be shorter going towards the rotation of the Earth. But since that's not happening, the Earth is not rotating.
I
Exactly.
get that, 10th man, but
Well, I just answered it.
no, I know, I understand.
We know you know,
That's
Arwin.
where we are now. But what if there was no sky, no stars ever visible because it would be clouded all the time? If you would tell that to people from that era, they would be looking like, "What the hell are you talking about?
Well,
Where did
well,
you come
Arwen-
up with this idea that the Earth is turning?" See?
well, Owen, South
You mean
African birds
every-
fly faster than European birds.
It's just a philosophy.
What?
Arwin, it's just a philosophy. It's just a way of contemplating or trying to wrap your head around the motion and movements of the lights in the sky. You know, to propose that we're stood on a sphere is merely a philosophical way of looking at those lights. Doesn't mean we are standing on a sphere. That's absurd. But it's just a way of contemplating those lights and their motions.
Okay. I don't know. It just seems to me like the star rotations and all that is the original anchor point to drive in the suggestion that there is an Earth turning in the first place. Because beside that, there's just nothing that would indicate it. Nothing at all.
Right. Well, there should be a 15 degrees an hour drift of things that leave the spinning reference frame. It's also claimed by heliocentrists that we do have 15 degrees an hour drift because we're on a rotating non-inertial reference frame, spinning underneath other things and watching them drift at 15 degrees an hour. As 10th Man pointed out, and I know you know this, Arwin, there should be 15 degrees an hour drift, right? We're told about it all the time. But there isn't. And when we point that out, we just get told why there isn't 15 degrees an hour as claimed to prove the Earth
And-
spinning.
And would that also not change with altitude?
We could get into the first law of thermodynamics violation that they'd have to infer to get around that problem when asserting there isn't a 15 degrees an hour drift flatsoid. But we're only in housekeeping. Feel free. Yeah, as they ascend in altitude, they should be traversing a greater circumference, therefore have to increase velocity to do so. And if they're claiming that they're
So-
travelling along Earth and atmosphere in lockstep, which is to defy the 15 degrees an hour deviation you're supposed to have, then that would violate the first law of thermodynamics. There you go. Done.
So the ISS cannot orbit?
Orbits is a begging the question fallacy. As soon as you say orbits, you're presupposing sphere Earth and things falling around them in this trajectory called an orbit. It's just a begging the question fallacy. Nothing's orbiting anything. You'll never show me anything orbit anything ever.
Right. If you say orbit, you're literally orbing it.
Any evidence that... Hey, QE.
That.
Sky. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
No evidence for the distance to the sun.
I don't know where it is. I don't know where it is, but I still see a lot of daylight.
How do you know you're not just looking at a refracted image?
Don't ask Arwin that. My God, this will be 10 minutes. Go ahead, Arwin.
A refracted image.
You got a
What?
problem.
What type of refraction is that?
Yeah, hold on. Before we get into
just
the
a joke, by
jokes,
the way.
we've heard it all before. What's the problem?
What's the problem with the refraction?
Which kind of refraction are we using?
Yeah, they're using terrestrial refraction. It's a double-edged sword because they're invoking unknowingly, basically unknowingly, terrestrial refraction, which already assumes a sphere with a known radius, and the atmosphere, which also curves with that radius. That's a problem.
It's a double your
Because
trouble begging the
gas
question
has
fallacy
no
is what it is.
Second?
It's a double your trouble begging the question fallacy.
Yes, sir.
Can I put another scoop on top of that? Terrestrial refraction has never been established. It has only ever been assumed. Because
Yeah,
it
like Earth
cannot
curve.
be established because you would have to measure the geometry first, and they never got to that, even though they say they did.
Yeah, like Earth
That's
curve.
what I just said. That's one of the begging the question fallacies.
So then light doesn't follow a curve path.
No. The light would have to follow the curved atmosphere. Atmo is gas. Sphere is a shape. Gases have no inherent shape.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Right. And all actual measured refraction only really works when there is a medium transit for the light to pass through. And then the path is deviated in a corner, never in a circular path. There's no demonstration of this besides dextro rotation, which is kind of unique.
You do realize this whole argument actually debunks their refraction claim against the black swan.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
Yes,
why I
we
put it
realise.
together.
Yeah, it's part of the argument.
Geniusly, may I say.
Nathan, can you read that question again from the beginning?
What, any evidence of the distance to the sun?
Thank you. This is about the distance to the sun.
Well, I don't know. It's related. R, in their assumptions of bending light around a spherical surface, is what they use to get the distance to the sun. They assume the same R value. It's part of their astronomical distances. Any evidence of the R value?
No, that went away too.
Where's
That's a
chocolate?
model. That's,
Oh, yes.
that's just a value for a model that can't be realized in reality.
Yeah, it's just a reification fallacy. It only exists in the maths. Any scientific evidence of gravity?
Sulfur hexafluoride.
That's heavy, man.
No, it's dense. It's not heavy.
But no, he's doing that. He's doing that because you got Dr. Phil Bellin. Well, he's not a doctor or a PhD. He's currently in the arena getting his ass handed to him over sulfur hexafluoride.
Yeah, we discussed it just before you got here. We will get to that. That's why I'm kind of rushing through the housekeeping questions. Speaking of Professor Phil Bell and being dense, any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
Never.
No. It's an impossibility, isn't it?
Yep.
No,
Non sequitur.
no, it shouldn't be an impossibility. They just never do it.
How can you do
Because
it,
they
Armin?
can't.
Well, you would have to go there and then confirm
Go
or
where?
disprove
Go
the
where?
idea by trying to very manipulate anything about it. Well,
Go
let's
where?
get there. You know,
Go where?
to the
Yeah,
thing that
how
they
get there?
presuppose should be there, even though
What,
we by now know it's not. But
Well,
Yeah.
how can they go to something that is not?
How do we
Well,
even know
by
what
going
those
there and
things
then
are?
figuring out it's
How
not,
can you
they
go there?
disprove it, and therefore they at least tried.
They got a sky vacuum. It's not there. How are they going to get there?
You go that direction.
I agree. I had the same conversation in the pre-show with Anthony, right? Anthony's asking me about how things might, freeze in a vacuum because it gets very cold as the gas particles all spread out in all directions. And I'm like, well, in what vacuum? What are you talking about?
Really cold with the sun hitting it? I don't think so.
Well, we'll get to that second law of thermodynamics violation next time we ask about the sun, maybe. Speaking of sky vacuums, any evidence that you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container to press upon?
Sulfhexafluoride.
Nope, not at all.
Just a
You can
point.
pour it on a
How
scale
nice is
without
it
a
a closed
container.
system? Would that
Hey,
not mean a
entropy will
container?
affect sulfur hexafluoride.
Of course.
Yeah,
Yes.
entropy rules.
Yes,
Agreed.
entropy rules, that's right.
Yeah, but even the
That's what he
priests
told
say
my
it's a closed system.
So container.
That Flatzoid
Yeah.
says? Say again, Flatzoid.
Even the priest Bill Nye says it's a closed system.
He's not really a priest. I don't know what you'd call Bill Nye.
A retard.
According to
I've-
them, he's clever.
A storyteller.
I've got a
four-actor.
sciencey question. I want to sound all sciencey and ask this question
About
to
Walkerman.
the Globers.
Go ahead, Dr. Paul.
How can gravity decrease entropy?
No.
Gravity
Not
can't
even-
do anything.
Not
Gravity-
even existed. You're. Why even bring up gravity? Every time I hear it, it sounds like invisible three-toed gnomes.
Yep.
That you got a malformed question.
Yeah, the correct answer to that
can't
question
do
is...
anything.
Well, the thing. Oh, I know that. But that's the.
Let me
Well,
just answer
here's the
it.
thing,
Let me just
though.
hold on.
Gravity
There's a
can
correct,
keep the
there's a
gas
correct
rates-
answer, Paul. Hold on. Just before we move on, I will let you. The correct answer is what's gravity? That's the correct answer.
Yeah. And the answer to that hypothetical question is
Okay, well-
gravity is an effect. It can't cause anything.
Mathematical.
According to their current physics.
no.
anyway.
No. It's not even that. The gravity doesn't. It's invisible three-toed gnomes. According to their
Yes.
worldview, the pseudoscience that they're not parroting, then your answer is correct. But in reality, it's not anything.
Yeah, in the four-dimensional world that doesn't exist.
Oh, yeah.
That's true, Anthony. But that world isn't our world.
It's Rumpus's world.
Hold on. Paul, you've got more points. Go ahead.
Well, no, I'm just kind of using their own argument against them because they basically, if they're saying that it can, which means it's preventing the gas from expanding into the volume, that means it's violating the second law of thermodynamics. So, and also so you have to say gas can decrease entropy by keeping the gas here. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, that's right.
You
They've
know,
got to
keep it
violate
from
the second law of thermodynamics, a natural law, in order to have their worldview that the sky is a vacuum, Paul. That's correct. Yes, they stand in violation of natural law, believing that the sky is a vacuum. Correct. Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
No.
No.
P waves, S waves, I still don't know what it means.
Just don't say that bit. Don't say that I don't know what it means bit.
You'll have to edit it out.
Just say P waves and S waves, and we'll all roll over in defeat.
Yeah, right.
Well, it's established.
And then they dug down
science,
deep
right?
and found out that they were wrong.
Yeah, somebody just misinterpreted what they were looking at and said, "Oh yeah, that looks like a ball." And then somebody else said, "No, actually, it doesn't look like a ball at all. You just interpreted that." And then they all realised that was just an interpretation.
Bit like seeing a load of noise in a graph readout from a ping you've sent out from a radio telescope, things like that.
Yeah, and then holding the belief that must be the reflection of the radar ping back from Venus. And then when Bob from JPL in America confirms it, then everyone suddenly agrees with it.
And when they're looking, assuming that the time frame that they should be looking at would be based on a presupposed R value and the astronomical distance that R value being presupposed would give them to look in that area in the first instance, that would give them the ping return in the time frame based on their presuppositions, right?
So it's
long
all
as it's something
presupposition.
that they could loosely interpret as a ping reflection, Nathan, then they would say, yeah, that's definitely a ping reflection. Especially if going to the moon depended on it.
Yeah, no one's been to the moon. Unequivocally, nobody's travelled through Narnia. Sky vacuum being that Narnia. We don't have a
What
sky
is the
vacuum.
moon?
Yeah, the moon is, that they describe in their fake videos with stop motion animation and backdrops. Their claim is that they travel to it through a vacuum. Well, the sky is not a vacuum. We wouldn't have any gas to breathe, so therefore the journey itself is completely debunked. They did not travel to the moon.
But Nixon spoke to them.
On the phone, right? On the landline.
Yeah, and
I
he got a
remember, I
better
was
signal than
little-
what we had
wee
over
little
Skype. How
child
did he do that in
watching it on the
1960,
telly.
whatever it was?
That's very easily done with 60s technology. You know, landline between his phone and the studio, no worries.
Yeah, but they lost the technology. Though,
I was going to
so
say
yeah.
maybe they lost that technology as well.
That's a bait and switch. They want you to argue about whether or not they can transmit to their presupposed vacuum journey travel to moon, and then prove or disprove that particular aspect of the argument. Like, similar to rockets working in a vacuum. What vacuum? Sky isn't a vacuum. Oh no, but if we assume it's a vacuum, rockets would or wouldn't work in it because. And then you can argue all day about whether or not rockets will work in a place that doesn't exist. When you could just say, yeah, the sky's not a vacuum. Who gives a shit whether or not you think rockets would work up there? Up there isn't a vacuum. That concludes the housekeeping. So how did you get on with Prof. Phil?
Just don't call him a professor anymore.
Just Phil, I call
let's
him.
call him Just Phil.
Makes a lot of money, he says.
He goes on and
Well,
on
yeah,
about
drives
his Merc and
Mercedes.
stuff. And I get it, you know, if you've got a posh car, but it does kind of seem like he's probably got a small penis, given that he brags about it when he's lost an argument.
No, I think he uses it to make us believe that because he drives a Mercedes, he must therefore be correct.
Yeah, I use that appeal to Mercedes fallacy.
Yeah.
So wait, and I'm correct because I drive a Mercedes.
Yes. He's got a nice shiny new one, though.
No, I'm right. I got a
So he's more
Pinto.
correct?
I'm right.
Pardon, Paul?
No, I'm right. I got a Pinto. I'm right.
Appeal to Pinto fallacy.
What about
Oh
appeal?
my goodness.
What about appeal to push bike fallacy? If you ride a push bike, does that mean that you're automatically wrong?
It's a similar argument that we've had from other people, although we're taking the piss out of it because he did specifically use his Merc. It's the, well, lots of people earn money off talking about heliocentrism, and the general worldview or consensus opinion is that it's true. Therefore, if I'm making money from it, it must be right. How would I be getting a wage from it if it was just lies? That's kind of the argument that he's putting across. Look, I do this, and I do it with a heliocentric worldview and get paid very well for it, therefore I'm right. That's his appeal. It's pathetic, especially when he's like, well, I've got a Merc, and it's brand new.
Yeah, but Nathan, if we were engaged in Narnia, I drive around in a Lamborghini Aventador in Narnia.
Yeah, but it's sad. If you take it away from the argument, back when I was a rep and I drove a nice new shiny car, it'd be like me going in and talking to one of my dealers or a studio and saying, the guy who's trying to sell you my competitor's product isn't as good because I drive an Audi. It's brand new. Supercharged. Who gives a shit? You know what I mean?
Look, it's so simple about these people like Bell. They get programmed through the false teaching through the education system about a model that's abstract. It's not real. They just got pictures and drawings. There's no proof for this thing. And then they get a certificate. Then they get a job, and they think that they've learned something. And then they come on a show, and then flat earther ask a simple question, and then they're I'm the only one with a PhD here, and I have a Mercedes. Why do I have to prove anything?
Yeah. Thunderfoot did the exact same thing, not with me, but with a previous encounter he had with a fundie. And no offense to Christians, but this guy was a fundamentalist Christian. However, I'm not knocking Christians, just to get that in. This particular guy didn't want to debate science with Thunderfoot, and Thunderfoot's response was to say, if you want anybody to recognise anything you say as being creditable, then you've got to go out and get a degree, and you've got to go and get employment from these various companies who only employ people with a certain education level. Once you've done all those things, then you can be considered to speak science as I speak science. That's what Thunderfoot's defense was. In other words, because I'm being paid by big companies and I've got the education to back up why I'm being paid by these big companies to do science, I can talk science to you in a debate about Christianity or whatever he was debating. Total nonsense. Appeal to Mercedes fallacy.
Well,
That's like appealing to a guild. You have to be part of the guild, or you can't title yourself like that.
Yeah, you're not in the union. You're not in the union of science, therefore you don't get to talk science. I can talk science, even though science is an empirical method of establishing cause and can be demonstrated by way of scientific experimentation. Nothing to do with the words I say or the people who employ me or the car I drive. But that's what these morons think.
Well, Arwen said it right there. It's a guild, a club, like almost a union of members that can't change the story even later when they find out all the things they were taught about the story was based on a false model. Because what are they going to say? All that money for education was wasted and be embarrassed?
Well, just not wasted. It depends on the outlook and objective of the person giving the education. Shout out to Unitox Femu, who says, plus Earth is moving through all that vacuum. Wow. Yeah, flying, hurtling at 66,000 miles per hour, whatever it is. Stupid speed through a vacuum with no container. That's just nonsense. But thank you for the super chat. You killed the conversation, Unitox Femu. I take it all back. But thank you for the super chat.
I'll take his super chat and continue on something. So, are there any natural vacuums that we can observe?
Well, there may be natural lower pressure systems that might arrive due to conditions, but a vacuum, like if you're going to define a vacuum as this supposed perfect absence of gas pressure, no, that can never be created naturally.
Yeah, I'm talking about their space vacuum. Is that at all observable, demonstrable, and measurable here?
Physical impossibility.
Wasn't it
So
attributed
then why
to...
is it reified into existence then?
Just going to say, wasn't it Aristotle that
Because
said
it needed-
nature abhors a vacuum?
Well,
Or it's
why is it
attributed
reified
to it?
into existence? Because they want you to reify it into existence and therefore have a cognitive break about how reality works. That's why.
But when you're dealing with, go ahead, sorry.
So, see, that's why they work with pseudoscience. They don't first observe phenomena. They make this whole story and then afterwards say, look, here's a vacuum. To make a whole story why it should be there, instead of observing it first.
Now, I didn't go to university or anything like that. So isn't there a study in natural sciences that has to deal with the natural world?
Yeah, you just look at that, as I've just done. Look up the quote. Horror vacui. I'm sure I'm butchering the Latin. In physics, horror vacui, or plenicism. Plenicism, is that right? Plenism. There we go. Commonly stated as nature abhors a vacuum, is the postulate attributed to Aristotle, who articulated a belief later criticised by Epicurus, that nature contains no vacuums, because the denser surrounding material would immediately fill the rarity of the implicit void. There you go.
So where did they get off talking about a vacuum when there's no proof of any of it?
Well, they just
'Cause
violate
they
the
made
natural
it up
law
themselves.
that dictates we wouldn't have one and claim that it's there, and then talk about gravity in the trenches even though it's not a force.
Everything they do and everything we see in the real world needs a container. A scuba diver can't take air into the water at different depths without a tank on his back. There's no way they have the space vacuum and can back it up. That's why they're losing, and that's such a great second of the top three questions. Just begging the question.
Very difficult to hear here. There's a storm brewing.
Yes, there is.
So we asked earlier how you got on with Phil, or just Phil Bell.
He just pigeon chested like he usually does. Brought up sulfur hexafluoride. You know, technically, with the second law of thermodynamics, the second law is a natural law. Sulfur hexafluoride is not natural; it's man-made. Number one. Number two, even if you would, allow it in, it's still going to increase entropy. It's just going to take a little bit longer. That's all. And it needs a container, by the way. So it's just a dog and pony show. Go ahead.
Isn't it funny though when they try to give us analogies of what's going on? They never use the thing that they're actually trying to prove. Like we don't breathe hexa. I can't even say the word. I'll let you say it. We don't breathe that. Water's not made of that. We don't breathe that. None of that's made, or we don't. It's not in the atmosphere naturally. And then they talk about centrifugal force, but that's not what the Earth is. It's not a centrifuge.
Yeah, it's a centrifuge. Show me a centrifuge without a container.
I know. We've already talked about that, but I just think it's funny how they always use an analogy that does not really have anything to do with the reality. Their analogy doesn't.
Yeah. But that's a number of their. That usually comes right before the pigeon chest.
Hey, Paul, repeat after me. Sulfur hexafluoride.
Sulfur hexafluoride.
Sulfur
I can say it.
Hexafluoride.
I just said it. Said it. Sometimes when I'm in the middle, I have to think about the word to say it. But when I'm trying to say something, I can't think about the word necessarily. So
I wouldn't worry
my brain
too
doesn't
much.
work that way.
I wouldn't concern yourself, given that I've just butchered reading a wiki entry off my phone, messed up half the words in it. So don't concern yourself too much. I'll just do a quick shout out to Bleeding Warrior. It says, where is the flat Earth debate? Not seeing any debate. Couldn't agree more. Game over. Earth's flat.
Well, let me see if I can.
No one in Discord?
Hello?
Roll call?
Yeah, there's a whole panel full of people in Discord.
Do I sound okay?
Do you sound okay?
I want to know what Professor Bill was calling you today, QE.
What?
Whoever asked
He
if they
was
sounded
calling you
okay.
something today.
Whoever asked if they sound
Yes.
okay, yes, you do.
I've been listening for a small while and I wanted to make a clarification about
Okay.
one of the things with entropy.
Sure, go ahead.
You said that gas not filling a vacuum is a second law of thermodynamics violation. Well, that would
Correct.
only be the case if it was what we call a free expansion. Free expansion is when you have two states that are at the same energy. When you have a vacuum, and I'm going to speak about gravity for now, but you can deal with that later. The reason we don't see it as a thermodynamics violation is because when you have two states, gas stuck to a planet and then gas free in space, there's a very large internal energy difference between those two states.
Wrong.
So if
Wrong.
you talk,
That's incorrect.
why is that wrong?
That's incorrect. It's not stuck to anything. Gases move freely and randomly at high speeds.
What is entropy difference? I'm pretty sure that entropy is universal. It's supposed to be the same everywhere. So
Oh,
where are you getting this from?
He just said stuck.
Let me put it another way.
He said stuck because he's moving on to this invisible pseudo force called gravity. That's not a force.
Yeah. Let's get back to the
Let me
stuck
put it
thing.
another way.
Do you agree? Hold on a second. That doesn't have anything to do with entropy, by the way. It sounds like you don't know the second law of thermodynamics.
Well, let me ask you
That's
a
what
question then.
I ain't going to get into that, but go on with your story.
Okay, if you have two states with different entropies, one of low entropy and one of high entropy, does that mean that a process will occur to move the system from a state of low entropy to a state of high entropy?
That's correct.
No, it's not. You can have processes that decrease the entropy of the system. It's completely natural.
Really? Like what?
It's not
What's going to
about-
decrease the entropy of the atmosphere on the Earth?
No, you can very easily create a chemical reaction that has a negative
I'm not
change
talking
in
about a chemical
entropy.
reaction.
It's a physical
I'm
process.
not talking. We're talking about the atmosphere and it expanding into its available volume. We're not talking about chemical reactions. There's no delta G here.
Well, thermodynamics doesn't just work in some parts of physical chemistry, in other parts it doesn't
I
work.
didn't say it did.
Just talking specifically about how gas would fill available volume, though, in this instance when detailing second law.
Well, it doesn't fill it uniformly.
What doesn't fill what? Be specific.
So, I'm not allowed to talk about gravity here, am I, sir?
What's
Yeah, you are, but it's not going to have any effect on entropy.
Well, it has to because...
Let's say, hold on a second. So we know that gases move freely and randomly at high speeds. Do you understand that?
Yes, I am aware.
Okay. So it has all conceivable vectors, correct?
What do you mean by all conceivable vectors?
When it moves freely and randomly in all directions, vectors at high speeds, you just said that that's true.
Yes.
So gravity, let's just allow it just for a moment. Gravity has a single vector towards the center of mass of the Earth. Do you see the contradiction?
No. Where's the contradiction?
Okay, I'm going to give it to you. All vectors, all conceivable vectors. Can something have all conceivable vectors and then only have one vector at the same time?
Okay, first of all, when you say it has all conceivable vectors, I'm assuming you mean velocities.
Gases move freely and randomly at high speeds. Vectors are directions.
Yes, I know what the vector. Gravity, when we talk about it in mechanics, it's a force vector, whereas velocity, what you call vectors, you're talking about velocity.
I'm not talking about velocity, sir. I'm talking about vectors.
Velocity is a vector, by the way. Do you mean force vectors?
What?
Velocity is a direction. Okay. How many directions does gravity have?
Well, gravity is a force vector. It has a magnitude and a direction, one direction.
What's the direction? Towards what?
Towards the center of the mass.
Okay.
This being
gases have, okay, fair enough. I'm going to say it again. Gases have all conceivable vectors.
They have one force vector on them towards the center of the Earth.
No, they don't. No, they don't. You just said that they have all conceivable vectors. You agreed with me. Listen, this is a simple
vectors,
contradiction. Yeah, you're going to talk through me. No, not a problem. See, you can't have a thing, and it's not a thing anyway, gases with only one vector and then all conceivable vectors at the same time. It violates the law of non-contradiction. Thanks.
No, they have all the velocities, but they have one force vector.
You think they have an exclusively downward vector? Oh, no worries. See, I've dealt with people who think the same as you. One of them was called Thunderfoot. I'll explain it in dumbed down terms for you as QE has failed. Gas does not go down, go boom boom like bouncy balls. It expands in all directions to fill the availability of volume. Not down, go boom boom. Not single vector like with gravity. Gas doesn't do that, mate. Do you not get it? You don't watch gas fall to the ground and require sweeping up because it's gone down with vectors of gravity. You getting it? And you don't sweep gas up, mate. Mate, you don't have to sweep up gas. Do you understand?
Yes, I do understand what you're attempting.
Right, so not go down, go boom boom with gravity then. You get it? All vectors, not go down, go boom boom with your gravity vector. Get it?
Well,
not needing sweeping up because of gravity, pulling it down. Not one vector, all vectors. How many bloody times?
Okay, thank you. But why then would a jar full of gas weigh more than an empty vacuum?
So you understand that gravity isn't affecting gas? Do you understand that? Not downward go boom boom like bouncy balls, not doing that. Do you concede before you ask us yet another question, given that we've answered your question and now you're talking through me? We've answered your question. Now we need you, the guy asking and having been answered kindly and politely for quite a prolonged period, to understand and appreciate and therefore concede that your gas go down, go boom, boom like bouncy balls with gravity isn't how gas behaves. You understand that gravity is not applicable when dealing with gas expanding in all directions. You understand this, yes?
I can see your point.
So you understand, not see my point, you understand that gas does not go down, go boom, boom with gravity. Do you understand that? I've dumbed it down for you.
Well,
gas isn't behaving like balls that need sweeping up when you pour them out. That's not what gas does. Hello? So that is not how gas behaves. Not a point I'm making, a fact of life. Now I need you to understand, because it's becoming ever more apparent that you seem stupid. Just need you to say, yeah, I understand gas doesn't need sweeping up. It's not applying a downward vector that I asserted. I'm wrong. That's what I need you to say, because you're wrong. It's not going down, go boom, boom with gravity, like bouncy balls.
Gas isn't bouncy balls.
No, it expands in all directions, all vectors, not go down, go boom, boom with gravity then. You understand it's not going down with gravity. Gas, that is.
Not go down, go boom, boom.
Yeah, not gravity. How many times? So you understand that gravity is not in any way, shape or form affecting the entropy of gas, which does not have a downward vector. Do you understand?
May I give you some shape?
No, you can answer me. Do you understand that that's not how gas behaves, as you have asked and asserted that that is how it behaves with a downward vector? It doesn't. I need you to actually acknowledge that.
Well, I'm trying to acknowledge it.
Start with the word yes.
No.
Oh, so you're not trying to acknowledge that gas doesn't go down, go boom, boom with a single vector of gravity? You're not going to concede this?
I'm trying to make something called a counter-argument.
It's not a counter-argument. This isn't agree-disagree. You think you have to sweep up gas? Are you moronic?
No.
This isn't agree-disagree, moron. Gas doesn't need sweeping up because it's got a downward vector. Either you are stupid or you think there's a counter-argument required to this assertion that gas needs sweeping up with a downward vector of gravity. It doesn't. It's a fact of life. Are you moronic? This is a fact of life, not agree, disagree, give me a counter-argument. You're never going to argue successfully that we need to sweep up gas because it's got a downward vector. It doesn't.
I'm not trying to.
So just to concede that point then. Yes. So just say yes.
Yes, it does.
So not gravity.
Thank you.
So not gravity.
No. May I now continue?
No, I will now gloat to all the fundies on your side of this globe believing nonsense that do think gravity's holding gas go down, go boom, boom with a single vector, as conceded by this guy. No, gravity not a force holding gas here in violation of natural law, stopping it going into outer space. That's not what's happening, right, mate?
It does not need sweeping up, that is correct.
Right. So, fundies on the globe side, man who believes in globe concedes gas not going down, go boom boom, entropy definitely not affected by this not actual force. Hello? A concession. Maybe you should have his job, because he's conceded that gravity's not affecting entropy.
Okay.
What the freak up then?
Why are you talking through me, Fundy? Why is this turned into me pointing out that your concession might leave you, by past experience, not scaremongering facts? This might leave your own side attacking your career. How does that make you feel?
I'm fine. His friends, can you...
No, you can answer me. You're fine that people on your own side, given that you've conceded gas does not go down, go boom, boom like bouncy balls in a fish tank. It's not affected by a single gravity vector of down. You have conceded that, which means that you are now open to your job being attacked, and you're fine with that.
May I tell you what I conceded?
You've conceded that gas does not go down, go boom, boom, need sweeping up with a single vector of gravity. You said yes, after I point out how moronic it is to assert a counter-argument to such a claim that gravity is affecting entropy. It isn't. That's what you conceded. Now, if you want to worm your way out of that because you might have your job attacked by your own bloody side, then fine. Maybe weasel your way out of it now.
Well, I don't have a job.
Good job, because your own side would be wanting it. Because you've conceded gravity doesn't affect entropy, so gas would fill the sky vacuum. There is no force from the trenches.
Entropy.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
Just want to ask him if he's so adamant that gravity only has one vector, then how is it that helium has a vector of opposite to gravity?
He already conceded that he doesn't, so it's kind of pointless.
No, I do.
He
He
didn't.
conceded that he doesn't
What?
have to sweep it up. That's
Yes.
what he's trying to say.
Yes.
So he's not conceded shit.
Okay.
But it's
Well,
not
if
going
you don't
down.
have to
Yeah,
sweep it up, that means it's not being pulled down by gravity. So it is a concession.
Yeah, but
Right,
my
I-
point
I was
is,
saying.
Hold on, let him speak.
sorry, my point is, if they say gas is held by gravity and helium is a gas, then why is it going up and not down?
Well, a different gas is going down.
No.
Gravity.
Like what?
But so
Different
So gravity
gases? No,
selective.
they're not.
Sorry, like what? What gas is going down? My understanding about the gas we breathe is that it's anisotropic. Maybe you can tell me different. Sorry, anisotropic
I'm sorry,
mixture
can
of
you repeat
gases.
that,
You're
please?
saying there's a layer of dense
Not-
gas at the
not
bottom
good.
layer being pulled down by gravity. Which gas would that be in the anisotropic mixture of gases we have? Which gas is at the bottom layer? Not the gases behave that way. Which layer you understood? The understanding that is at the bottom, going down, go boom boom like bouncy balls in a
Oh,
fish
no,
tank.
if you-
Which
if
layer?
you
What
mix
gas?
all the gases together, some
No,
gases.
no. You just said that there was a
Well, for
certain
instance,
gas
you
that was
can-
going down. Which gas would that be in the anisotropic mixture of gases we have?
No, I mean when you have all gases mixed. Well, sure, you can put CO2 in a box.
Sorry,
And-
in a box. So we don't have a gas going down, go boom boom like bouncy balls in a fish tank. You're just wrong
In
again.
an open box, yes.
You're just wrong
With
again.
The rest of
Sorry,
the
just
atmosphere
wrong
above
again, aren't you?
You can-
We don't have that in our atmosphere. We don't have gases go down, go boom boom, even though you've just made a little segue that makes no sense. Because that's not what we have, and now you're putting your little example in a box. No, mate.
Yeah, it's just like hexafluoride. It will eventually disperse.
Yeah, it's called entropy. It's not affected by gravity in the slightest.
Okay. May I ask you a question now, please?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so my instances of gravity affecting gas, like a jar with gas in it weighs more than a jar with a vacuum, or pressure decreases as you increase elevation, exactly as you would expect with normal mechanics. Like gas is a fluid. We understand fluid dynamics very well. Like,
Hold
it's
on a
not something
second.
new.
Gases are not liquids. Gases, even though they're arbitrarily classified as fluids, gases and liquids are not the same.
Liquids.
And even for gas, wait a minute. And even for gas to act like a fluid, it has to be under pressure.
Forget that
Which would
it's a
require a container.
fluid.
Oh, hold on. Let him
Hydrostatic,
speak,
Yes.
because he's moving to gas pressure gradients. You're moving to gas pressure gradients. That's not our question. Our question is, how do you have gas pressure without a container? In other words, define gas pressure.
Gas pressure, it's just the average of the force that particles hit you with in a gas.
From chemistry
force over
department
area.
at Elmhurst University. I'm going to define it for you with citations. The pressure of a gas is a force that the gas exerts on the walls of its container. From NASA, gas pressure. The molecules are in constant random motion and frequently collide with each other in the walls of the container. Because the molecules are in motion, a gas will expand to fill the container. Since density is defined to be the mass divided by the volume, density depends directly on the size of the container in which a fixed mass of gas is confined. Kinetic molecular theory, back to chemistry at Elmhurst. The rapid motion and collision of molecules with the walls of the container causes pressure, force per unit area. That's surface area. And lastly, Chem Libre text, gas pressure. Pressure is caused by gas molecules hitting the walls of the container. Good?
Yes, that's good.
Yeah.
So if the sky was
Okay.
a vacuum, the gas we breathe would fill the availability of volume it has to fill by way of entropy increase.
No, because there is, well, we're going back to the difference in internal energy between the two states. It's a huge energy difference, by the way.
Yeah, so the gas would want to expand in all directions given the high amount of energy that it has and the availability of volume it has to disperse into. That would be an entropy
It doesn't
increase, though,
have
wouldn't
enough
it?
energy to
Yeah,
fill the
that
space.
before you interrupt me, that would be an entropy increase, though, wouldn't it?
It would.
Yeah, so the gas would fill the space, if the sky was a vacuum, the gas would fill it.
No, entropy is not the only factor. That's not good physical chemistry. Entropy
Natural
is
law.
not the only factor.
Natural law.
There's a large.
Not good chemistry.
There is no chemical. Hold on. There is no We're back to this. You're circle jerking us back. There are no chemical reactions. Let me ask you a question. Can you have entropy increase without a change in energy or temperature?
No. Yes,
you can.
Without change in energy, entropy will increase. Yes.
No. Yeah. Yes. The correct answer is yes. You can. Do you agree with that?
Yes. Yes, like free expansion, for instance.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about here.
Yes, this is not an instance of free expansion.
So the expansion of a gas. So let me get it straight. Let me get it straight. You believe that the high pressure gas we're breathing and its claimed availability of a sky vacuum to expand into isn't described as free expansion. That's what you're claiming.
Correct. Because
why would that be? Because is it because my bad? Is it because that you assume it's not expanding into it?
No, it's because they have different internal energies. It's not free expansion.
What
free
has
expansion
different internal energies?
What?
What has different internal energies?
The state of the atmosphere being near the Earth and the state with a gas filling the space.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. It will attempt to fill the available volume. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying won't happen due to the difference in internal energy of those two states.
You have high energy to low energy. High energy on the Earth going to low energy. That's the second law of thermodynamics.
Yeah,
it will spontaneously go that way.
He's saying no. No. That's what he's saying.
You don't know. You don't understand the second law of thermodynamics. That's the problem.
Well, here's the thing, though. Isn't free expansion mean it's unhindered?
Yes.
Like, okay, so if it's not free expanding, there's something hindering it. What is that thing hindering it?
A container.
Gravity. No, I want him to answer it. I want him to answer it. What's preventing the free expansion?
It's the gravity. The gravity is what causes the energy difference between the states.
Gravity.
We dealt with that, didn't we, though? We dealt with that. Gravity doesn't make gas go down, go boom, boom. It doesn't need sweeping up.
Yeah. Let's circle jerk.
Yeah, circle jerking.
Circle jerk. We could go to gravity if you want. You want to scientifically validate which type of gravity are you talking about?
No, let's not do that.
No, let's. Go ahead, my friend. Which gravity? Which gravity are you referring to? There's a couple.
Oh, God.
We've got gravity stopping the free expansion. So what gravity? Which gravity do you refer of?
I mean, surely you know.
No.
Well, he did say force vector. He did say force vector. So he's actually appealing to the universal law of gravitation. Is that correct?
Force vector.
Well, somehow he thinks entropy is ordered.
Hold on a second.
Is he describing geodesics in space-time, or is he describing force? Which one is it? We don't know. He hasn't answered. Still here?
What's the guy's name?
Don't know.
Dumbass.
No need, Neil. But yeah. Circle jerker.
Anybody know who we were just talking to?
You should name this episode Horsing Around.
Well, we're trying to find out who it is, okay? Thanks. Who was speaking, please?
No, who wasn't speaking?
We've clearly reached the end of the road. We've already pummeled it without having to pummel what gravity is claimed to be anyway. There's no effect against entropy with everything.
You pummeled straw man.
What?
Oh, we're hearing mutterings of straw man.
What are you going to do? White Knight?
Is it the same guy?
Maybe
No,
that sounds like White Knight to me.
That sounds like Butthead.
Oh, Beavis. Or Butthead. Which one?
Hey, QE, he was talking about
Beavis.
two different energies. Now, in a vacuum, does he have a point? Is there any energy in the vacuum?
I don't know what the hell he was talking about, dude.
Well, obviously, you have in their pseudo belief a sky vacuum, and we have air pressure here on Earth. And Paul's question was pertinent: what's keeping it on Earth versus filling the available space? And then he was saying two different states of energy. So I'm trying to say, all right. So we got gas pressure as referred to one state of energy, and then obviously there's only one left, which is the sky vacuum. So I didn't think that a vacuum had any energies at all. What was he trying to say there? How could the pressure not go to low pressure?
Don't know. You have to ask him.
Well, I was, but he left.
Yeah, it's just talking nonsense. A couple of super chat shout outs now. It's calmed down a bit. Al Junkie, shout out to you, my friend. He says, what comes before round table? Ranty. Hashtag rantecedent. Thank you very much for the super chat. Al Junkie. Also, shout out to... Scroll down and find the next one. Here we go. Unicorn Laser Eyes. This globe just fall down, go boom boom. Thank you very much for the super chat, Unicorn Laser Eyes. Really appreciate the support.
I got a shameless plug.
Go ahead.
Yeah, today on Quantum Eraser channel at 1 p.m. U.S. Central, 7 p.m. UK, it's a debate/discussion in the arena between me and Cal, K-A-L. So be here or be sphere.
I will be there.
So 7 p.m. UK time, 1 p.m. Central Standard. Be here or be sphere on the Quantum Eraser YouTube channel for debate between Al and Quantum Eraser.
Cal.
Come and listen.
Oh, Cal.
How to
Cal.
guide back.
My bad. Sacred sacrilege. You can't interrupt the plug, Neil. This is bad news.
How dare you, Neil?
How dare you interrupt the plug?
Kick him!
Hold on a second, Neil. Shout out to Retro Bill. Wild E Coyote proves that gravity does not work till you look down. Thank you very much for the super chat. Really appreciate the support, Retro Bill. Go ahead, Neil.
I was just saying, if freaking Ed would come and listen, he'll learn how a baller should act.
Nathan, don't be hard on
Really
Neil.
bad example, Neil. This is really bad.
Nathan, don't be hard on Neil. The reason he interrupted your plug is because this show is his only outlet.
Oh, I see.
Jeez.
Shout out to...
You're right.
Hold on one sec. Shout out to... Is it Fenia? Hope I haven't said your name incorrect. Acceleration causes a force. Copyright Globers in Discord. Okie dokie.
Fenrir.
Fenrir. Woo.
Say again, how do you say his name or her name?
Yeah, Fenrir.
Fenrir.
It's German, Fenrir.
Ah, okay.
It's the wolf of... again? What I was talking about. Ragnarok. It's the wolf of Ragnarok. It's called Fenrir. Fenrir the wolf that causes Ragnarok.
Cool. Well, thank you very much indeed for your support. Also, shout out to Matthew Eastman, who says, hey guys, how are sun rays not circumstantial evidence to distance from any one circumstance? I don't know. I don't know. Anybody want to care to answer that?
No, answer what? Wasn't a question.
It had 2 question marks. Hey guys, how are sun rays not circumstantial evidence to distance ? From any one circumstance ?
Well, you have to establish an origin point. The only real way to establish a distance to a presumed object is to actually establish distance. Just light. You can't just derive from light where the location of something is. You have to have a little bit more than that. The angular size increase and then a consistent pattern, at it as you move in a direction. That would be a real hint. Just light, you can't just derive a distance just from light alone.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he's asking how long's a piece of string.
Okay. Didn't get that out of that, but...
Yeah, we need some more information, is the point.
Well, you'd have to measure a piece of string.
Yeah, if we had a piece of string to the sun, that would be quite handy.
That would help if it was tangible.
It would help if it was tangible.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be
What do you
handy.
mean? You can't vary and manipulate things that aren't tangible? What do you mean? They do that all day on the globe, apparently.
No, they
Yeah,
don't.
they observe them. They observe them moving.
Look,
They
we
don't
have to-
very manipulate things that aren't tangible. They just say you don't need to very manipulate anything tangible in order to have science. That's their standpoint.
Right.
They
We
don't
work on the
claim to
really is
very
level.
manipulate anything. They know they don't.
Yeah, exactly. We like to work on the really is level as opposed to on the conceptual level.
I mean, I don't know why they're even doing science. I mean, I was just told by
they
Professor
don't.
Phil that science has approved things. So
Ed,
Oh,
do you
so
have
where's the-
anything logical to say, Ed?
Go on, you can have the last word, Ed.
You were talking about only dealing in really is and not conceptions and stuff. So where's the dome?
What dome? Nobody's claimed there's a dome. With that, I'll say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who tuned in live on Nathan Oakley 1980. If you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley or Nathan Oakley 1980 premiering streams, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately for you watching live, this is where we bid you farewell. Massive thanks for smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. I've been Nathan Oakley. Stay tuned if you're watching on a premiering stream, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Turning in
Deals
his
with
brain
the
all
what
the time.
is.
Forget about
Show them.
flat Earth. Forget about flat Earth. We're talking
No.
about science. Yes. Why would you
No.
suppose you should see the dome, the container? You call it a dome. I didn't. Container.
I don't
Why
care
did-
what you call it. Just show it.
Called the
You have,
phenomenon.
yes, you have a
Can
container.
Prepare for all the
gases,
intellect
liquids, and solids be
Ed.
transparent, sir?
Show us a physical
That's an
Earth curve edge.
assumption.
Can
Conception.
science,
Like Earth curve
science, sir,
edges.
concentrate.
Show us Earth curve edge. Show us a physical geometric sphere edge horizon. The one in your maths that blocks boats and buildings. Show us that.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice dodge.
Well, nobody's
No,
claiming
no,
a dome,
doesn't
but there's
mean-
mathematics for a physical sphere edge. You definitely assert that.
So you don't think there's a container?
It must be.
That's
There's an antecedent consequent relationship with the gas we breathe. We must have containment. As for you saying, show me a dome, I've no
That's
idea
a
what the sky
conception.
is. While you interrupt me, I'll point out
That's
that we
a
must have
conception.
containment as
Show
you
it.
interrupt the point, which is we must have containment. It's an antecedent for the gas we're breathing. What it is, I don't know, which is what you're asking for. Because I don't know, you're asking for it. Doesn't mean it's not there. We definitely have containment. We wouldn't have gas.
That's a conception. Please show your container.
No, it's a consequent antecedent. Do you know what that means? Maybe not.
Did
He
he
doesn't
just
know what
say
he means.
gas
Just
pressure
wants to
was
go
a
around in
conception?
circles.
So show us the physical
That's
sphere
what
edge.
you
Nobody's
assume.
claiming
So you
dome.
dealt with only what really is.
Yeah, this is a straw man. Nobody's
Well-
claiming dome. We're claiming containment. And if you assert that it's not an antecedent,
Right,
then
so
you
show-
need to demonstrate that we can have gas pressure without a container, because that's natural law.
Yeah, demonstrate that.
So show the container then.
And what
Yeah,
are you
the
assuming,
container
Ed?
must be here.
Gravity
It's an
won't-
antecedent for the gas we're breathing.
That's some conception, so please show.
It's not conception, it's a fact of life. Without the container, there can be no pressure. It's not some idea I've got.
Yes, it is. Where's the
Oh, right.
container?
Oh, well, if it's just an idea I've got, given that I can give a multitude of examples of gas pressure with containment, can you show me gas pressure without containment?
You're talking about conceptions again? I thought you
No,
dealt with
I
what
can
really
show
is.
you a
Where's the
bloody
container?
scuba diving tank, a container with gas pressure in it. I can definitely show you a container with gas pressure.
Yeah.
Can you show me gas pressure without a container?
I was still waiting for the dome of Earth.
Yeah, I'm saying that we must have containment. It's an antecedent consequent relationship. Words that are clearly way over your pay grade. You don't understand what they mean. To have gas pressure, we must have containment. Fact. And you're saying, well, no, that's just a conception. Oh, right, I can show you many containers with many gas pressures. Can you show me gas pressure without a container?
We can't hear.
Nice dodge. Can you show the container, please?
Yeah, I've just said scuba diver. Scuba tank is a container for gas pressure. I can give you many examples.
Oh,
I've just said,
so the Earth-
and you're interrupting me as soon as I point out that every example that I show you with pressurized gas will have a container. That's a fact. I can give you many examples. Show them to you, demonstrate them to you. I'm asking, given that you're disagreeing with that fact of life, can you show it without a container?
Can I ask him a question?
Are you telling us the Earth is encapsulated in a...
Must be. It's an antecedent consequent relationship. Without the container, there can be no pressure.
Can I ask him a question?
Yeah, that's your claim. So can you show the container, please?
What container? The container that we must have? No, I can't. I don't know what the sky is. However, there's a fundamentalist religious assertion that it's a bloody vacuum. And if the sky was a vacuum as per your claim of outer space, then the gas we breathe would fill it.
I don't care. Show the container.
Why do you keep parroting off show me the container? When containment is an antecedent consequent relationship. We must have containment. Now, nobody's asserting what the container is. We just know we must have containment.
Oh, okay. Well, then gravity is the container. We're done.
And the gravity's not a container. It's not even a force. We just went that... With the guy you were here trying to white knight for, you heard that whole conversation, right? Dumbo, were you not listening?
Then
while you white knight for him?
Container.
How about you show gravity?
Yeah, exactly. Show gravity keeping gas.
Show us gravity.
No. I don't care what
nice
means he uses. Don't tell him to show gravity so he can have his little straw man red herring off on gravity. No, I want to see gas pressure without a container. Absolutely demonstrable that we need containment to have gas pressure. That's a fact of life. He's saying it's not true because he's got a fundy belief that the sky is a vacuum and it's not contained. So demonstrate it. I don't care what method you use. You want to use gravity to show me gas pressure without a container? Be my guest.
For you to show me the container.
He said gravity. Let him demonstrate gravity.
No, let him demonstrate gas pressure without a container. If he wants gravity to be the antecedent rather than a container, fine. I don't care what he uses.
I thought you didn't deal in the conception. So where's this container?
I don't know. I don't know what the sky is. How many times have I got to say to you, I don't know. I make no claim about what the sky is. You, on the other hand, you make a positive assertion while you talk through me that it's a vacuum. And it's not.
You do make a claim.
And you're still talking through me because you don't know how to debate. You're like rumpus. The minute I get halfway through a point, you'll start talking. Maybe moan. Right? No. The sky's not a vacuum. That is a positive claim about what the sky is that your side make.
That's a claim, yeah.
Yeah, so you need to prove that we can have a vacuum in violation of natural law. That would be to demonstrate gas pressure without a container.
You can ask me a question.
So where's this container then?
Well, hold on a second. He's asking, where's the container? Well, there has to be one because to have gas pressure, there must be a container. It's a necessary antecedent consequent game, right?
He's going to keep repeating himself.
Hold on, Flatsoid asked about 10 times. Go on, Flatsoid.
Doesn't matter, it's a conception, so...
Your only defence is to parrot off conception and ask for a container 10 times. You are useless. What did you want to ask, Flatsoid?
I got real feedback here.
Yeah, it's Flatsoid. He's trying to get a question in with his mic open.
Flatsoid.
Yeah, he's trying to ask a question.
Do you believe in any gas laws? Or do you understand them?
Wait a second. We were talking about the container.
I'm getting to that point. I just want to ask the guy.
No, I was
laws?
talking.
No, I was talking.
Yeah, that's what was trying to get a question in, though, John.
Holy shit. Go ahead. Go right off the topic. Go ahead.
It's not off the topic, by the way.
Yeah, wait your turn, QE.
Shut the fuck up. Go ahead, ask your question.
Do you know any gas laws, and do you believe that they are true? Did you hear me?
What does this have to do with the container?
Do you know
about
any
gas?
gas laws, and do you believe that they are true?
Sure, however, that's irrelevant. I'm still waiting for the container.
He thinks
It's a
it's
simple
irrelevant
yes or
unless it's
no.
an answer to his question of where's the dome. It's not relevant to anything. In other words, nothing's relevant unless it's an answer to his question and his reply that it's a conception to assert we need containment. That's all he wants to talk about. So he's got two replies.
Yeah.
Containment, conception, and
This is
show me dome.
You
That's his only
assume
replies.
we need a container.
See? That's his
this
only
is
replies.
what-
He's a parrot. A parrot stuck in a rut.
okay. Next, I want to ask then. Can you
Oh,
show
'cause
me
he
one
said
gas
we
law that
assume.
does
We're not
not need
assuming.
containment?
Share your pain, Nathan.
Share my
Can you
pain.
show me?
What the hell are you babbling about? Antecedent consequent relationship. You've not acknowledged this rebuttal from us. You just say the word conception like a parrot. You're a moron.
It's not a rebuttal. It's just another idea.
You think antecedent consequent relationships are ideas? You're a moron. You don't understand what those words mean. You're moronic. You're stupid.
I thought you didn't deal with
He's
ideas.
saying that gas pressure without a container is the conception. Because we can demonstrate our point, but you can't demonstrate yours. So it sounds
Precisely.
like what you're saying
Really?
is
Then
a
where's the
conception.
container?
See? His only response, where's the container? We can demonstrate our examples of containment. I gave you an example. A scuba tank. That's an example of gas pressure requiring containment. And we're saying, given that there's thousands of other examples of gas pressure in containers, can you demonstrate it without a container?
Thank Nathan.
You're not listening to us, are you? What you're doing is pigeon chesting, as Quantum Eraser calls it. Not listening to any responses.
You stop talking to him. You're just talking in circles.
Yeah, it's just decided that it's going to cause a disturbance with his only two responses, which is, it's a conception, and where's the dome? That's it. That's all he's got.
No, it's a simple question. Are you
Yeah, where's the dome? It's a conception to say you need containment, because I believe the sky's a vacuum.
Ted,
Show
it's
the scuba
obvious you're
diving thing,
educationally
Nathan.
challenged here. You know what causes gas pressure, and
This is
so
trolling.
we have gas pressure.
Do you trust NASA?
Where's his container?
Wait, do you trust NASA?
So where's the container?
Yeah, do you trust NASA?
I don't give a fuck about NASA.
Kick him out, Nathan, please.
Yeah, you're a useless twat then, aren't you?
No, let's do it for the audience.
Why? Do you believe NASA?
Not at all. Not when they talk about a place that doesn't exist. I'm just specifically talking about gas pressure,
Then
though.
why are you whining when I say I don't believe them?
Because I haven't given the example from NASA yet. You're just too dumb to realise that there was something to follow up with that question. You think that was just a question out there? Like I give a shit whether or not you believe NASA? I'm just asking in regards to gas pressure, specifically, and containment, the antecedent consequent relationship therein that you deny. And just say conception.
Yeah,
No, not conception, antecedent consequent, backed by citation from NASA.
That's an interesting claim.
Not a claim, a fact of life, you moron. Unless you can demonstrate otherwise, without the container there can be no pressure. Fact.
So where's this scuba diving
Right,
tank
the
around
dumbass.
Earth then?
Oh my
Oh, you're a moron.
god, please.
He's done. Useless. You're a moron.
Mr. Ed.
You have to
That's what
physically
you
show you.
said, Nathan. Scuba
Anyway.
diving tank.
Yeah, do you think I have to actually show you one?
Funny, it's just like,
Or I have to produce one for you to accept that you need the container to have the gas pressure inside it? Are you a moron? Yeah, why am I even asking? Yes, of course. I must provide you with a scuba tank to prove that that's got an antecedent consequent relationship of the tank being required to have the pressure? Yeah, I need to actually demonstrate that to this moron.
Yeah, Nathan, if you give this guy a steak dinner, you gotta provide the cow, else you won't believe it's a steak.
Can I ask a quick question about gas?
Are we done?
come on, man.
Yeah, someone said that gases have all conceivable vectors.
Nobody cares about all conceivable vectors.
No, it's unrelated to the containment thing.
Right?
So if gases have all conceivable vectors, does that mean that helium doesn't rise or hot air doesn't rise? They move in all directions.
Didn't you just ask this question?
Hold on, that's a trick question.
Hold on.
Didn't he just ask
question.
Holy fuck. Didn't he just ask this question the other day and we went through it?
I don't know. Not that I can remember.
Yeah, he did. You did, Mole Man, didn't you?
Yes, he
Can I
did.
Yeah, it
answer
wasn't in a
quickly?
live stream.
So go back to that answer. That's the one we're sticking with. For fuck's sake.
The one you got destroyed.
I think it wasn't.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for the gas.
Helium also expands in all directions. It's only after the volume of the container has been filled
why
with the
does it
gas
go up,
expanding in it that
dumbass?
the denser gases go down and the less denser gas go up. It's only after they have filled the volume of the
Really? I thought it
So-
went in all
Let me get it
directions.
straight. Hold on.
You couldn't destroy a soup sandwich, knuckle brain.
Do you think the other gases don't go up then?
I just destroyed
All right,
everybody.
just let me just establish the stupidity level. Are you under the apprehension that the other gases don't go up?
I thought it expanded in all directions.
It
Why
does,
should it
but
go
one
up
of those directions is up. Yeah, one of them being up.
Oh, I thought no, it can't be up. It has to go in all directions.
It does. And I'm asking you, do you think it's only helium that does that?
It should go in all directions.
Yeah, all
Why
directions.
does
That's
it
right.
go
You've said
up?
it about 6 times. I'm asking you for
Why
the
does
third
it go
time.
up, then?
Are you under the impression that only helium does that?
Why does it go up, Nate?
So you're asking me a question, moron. I'm asking you for the 4th time, is it your apprehension that only helium expands in all directions and up being one of them? Other gases don't do that, right?
Is up a direction?
The question to you, since the...
No, I'm asking you a question, moron, given that you seem to think that helium is in defiance of all the other gases. Do you think it's only helium that does that, right, moron? You're not going to answer me, moron. Just ask me a new question, moron.
Nice dodge. Why?
No, not dodging. Asking the same question for the 5th time. Do you think that it's only helium that does that?
Up if it goes in all directions.
Do you think it's only helium that does that? 6th time.
You're dodging.
I'm asking the same question now 7 times. Is it your understanding that only helium expands in all directions, one of them being up?
Oh, so your answer is a question? That's rich.
Your assertion is that somehow helium behaves differently to the other gases that are making their way up, say, to the top of Everest. Those other gases aren't behaving like helium, in that instance, going up. Maybe at a different rate, but ultimately still expanding in all directions, like the other gases that have made their way up there.
Really? If it expands in all directions, right?
Yeah, they all expand in all directions, you fuckwit muppet. I'm asking if you think that's not the case, given that you're examining helium going up. Well, does that mean that the other gases don't do that, you clown?
That wasn't the question, Nate.
No, that's my question. It's been asked 8 times.
Oh, so you're answering a question?
Eat your mic, bitch. While I ask you for the 9th time, if is your understanding that the other gases don't do that?
You're still dodging. Why?
Yes, he just keeps answering that I'm dodging. No, your example's shite. All of the gases will do that. You're just a moron. To give an example where you're defining something as though helium is the only exception, wrong, mate. You're just a moron.
There's a group of gases known called they're called lifting gases, Ed. They're called lifting gases. Helium is only one of them. You should do a bit of research before you go saying stupid stuff.
Yeah, just dodging the pummeling. 9 times, you pathetic moron.
But how can he claim?
So why did it go up?
So ask me a question, because you've been raped. No, mate. Lie down and bleed. That's what you can do. 9 times. How thick are you?
Why did they go up?
You were asked first.
Why
and
do
you
they go
answered
in all
with a question.
directions? Well, they tend to increase
it was answered.
entropy. You
Sorry,
understand what the second law of thermodynamics is by chance?
Irrelevant. Why does the gas go up if it expands in all
It's
directions?
second law is irrelevant.
This law of nature applicable always. Not relevant in his world, because he's got a fundy belief that the sky is a vacuum that stands in violation of that law. What's his response? Not relevant. This natural law applicable always. Not relevant. That just destroys your fundy sky vacuum belief.
That's the
Space
gas
is
go
fake.
up then, Nathan.
Yeah, mole man. Space is fake. Can't have gas pressure without the antecedent of containment. So when you ask where the dome is, we must have containment. I don't know what the sky is, to answer your question that came back 16 times.
It asked about the container, that's me.
That's Mr. Ed, not
my
Molman.
bad. Mixing the two of you up. Sorry if that causes offence to one or other. I don't know which is more offensive.
No.
You mixing those two guys up? Amazing. What is the second law of thermodynamics, Mr. Ed?
Yeah, you've never done that, right, QE? Mix people up?
What is the
Get
second
real.
law of thermodynamics? Please give it to us in mathematical form and then describe it.
So are you going to answer the question? Why does the gas
Yeah,
go
that's what I'm waiting to. I'm going to answer. I just asked you a question. Have you lost the plot?
Yeah, they have, yeah.
Oh, so you're answering a question with a question.
There's a dog in a corner growling at you.
I asked you, do you understand the second? This has bearing on the subject. Do you understand the second law of thermodynamics? Please provide the equation and then describe it for us.
Go ahead and make your point. Why does the gas go up?
His point is you don't.
I'm waiting for it. My point is asking you the question.
Point is you don't know what the second law of thermodynamics is. You couldn't describe it.
So you're answering a question with a question. Okay.
No, showing you don't know it.
No, I asked you a question. You didn't ask me a question.
I find it funny that are we
Why
going
does
to
the gas
spend
go
all this
up?
time arguing with these clowns how gas goes down, and now he's asking us why gas goes up? That's
Ask
cute.
again. That was priceless. Ask again. Why does the gas go up?
You're still dodging. That's
Sorry, did you just ask us why does the gas go up?
should
Yeah, he's
expand in
asking
all
why does the
directions,
helium
right?
go up?
So why does it go up?
So not down then with gravity.
Done.
You know how salty they are? So all of your fundy friends think gas go down, go boom boom, and you're asking us, the flat earthers, why the gas in actuality goes up, right?
You said it expands in all directions.
It does, yeah. Yeah, it definitely expands in all directions. That's what gas behavior is. All vectors, that's right. We discussed it with the other guy earlier. He too conceded. Not needing sweeping up, not down, go boom boom, not single vector of gravity. And now you are asking us why it goes up.
You do realize opposite direction, right?
You realise that's not in line with your fundy belief in gravity, right?
Nice dodge.
Nice dodge! You're getting raped! You're asking the flat earthers why does the gas go up? Hello? So not down with gravity then. You're asking me why it goes up because you appreciate it goes up. So that's not down.
If it expands in all directions, why?
It's going up, that's right. Not down, go boom boom with gravity. And you pointed that out to me and asked why.
Yeah, it should expand in all directions.
Yeah, it does. It would fill the sky vacuum out of space. If there was one, there isn't. But you now want to know why it's going up. So what, not gravity then? Hello?
So if it expands in all directions.
Yeah, you keep repeating your pummeling. Right? Yeah, it expands in all directions, we know. Not down, go boom boom with gravity, mate. Hello, let's just appeal to your brethren. I think it's time you have his job. He's saying gas goes up. Not down, go boom boom with gravity, right? Have his job, fundies.
Seize him.
So
how do you feel? Is it the case that you're a bit more scared now that you understand that this kind of behaviour from your side leaves you open to having your job taken off you? From past experience, not just threatening you. That's what your side does.
You think I care?
Like the other guy, you don't care that being in violation of gas go down, go boom boom with gravity might cost you your job. No, you don't care. You should.
Not what I asked.
Well, I'm asking if you care that your side of scumbag globe believers will have your job if you violate one of their premises. In this case, that would be gas go down, go boom boom, and you've just asked me why it goes up.
What's my job, Nathan?
I don't give a shit. I'm not in any way inferring that anybody should actually do this to you. My point is that your scumbag side of globe-believing zealots will go after people's jobs if they stand in violation of the fundamentalist sphere Earth belief. Now, your fundy sphere Earth belief here in the trenches is gas go down, go boom boom, like bouncy balls in a fish tank. And when you ask me why it's going up, you stand in violation of your own fundy belief. And that leaves you open, by the standards of your own side, to having your job taken off you. It's outrageous.
Nobody cares if it is...
Yeah, I care. Your side is scum. Total and utter scum.
Taken away, Nathan. Share your pain.
I'm not in pain. The people who have their jobs taken from them or threatened by your scumbag side, they're the ones in pain. I'm not in any danger of losing my job sat on YouTube because of your scumbag side. What are they going to do? Appeal to my manager? That's me. I'll tell my audience, however, that there's plenty of examples of globe-believing scum zealots going after people's jobs simply because they disagree with the trench rhetoric. The trench rhetoric being gas go down, go boom boom. And you're asking why it goes up. Because that's what it does. Violating the idea that we've got a sky vacuum, pissing in the face of gravity. Now that's unreasonable that it should in any way threaten the livelihood of you or your family, but it does, because your globe-believing scumbag zealot mates will go after people's jobs if they disagree.
Yeah, so why does the gas go up if it expands in all directions?
Why do you believe it?
Over and over again.
What's your biggest...
He's going to keep asking why it goes up.
Yeah, because you're dodging.
We know your job, Ed.
It's called natural law. It's called entropy. That's why. You want an answer? It's called entropy. It's called an entropy increase. Yeah, that's what he's talking through me. As soon as I say I'll give him an answer, he's not interested. He's only interested in expressing his zealotry and causing chaos. He wants it to be Jeremy Kyle as I answer him. I'll tell you, it's called entropy. It's described as an entropy increase. That's what would happen and leave us with no gas if the sky was a vacuum. There's your answer. That's why gas is going up. It's produced at ground level and makes its way up. Gets less as it goes because it's not being produced in the middle of the sky. There you go, there's your answer.
But it expands in all directions.
Yeah, we know. Not down, go boom, boom with gravity, and if the sky was a vacuum, it would expand into it.
Then why does it go up instead of...
Are you saying gases don't expand in all directions?
In all directions.
It does, yeah.
Are you saying...
No, he's agreeing.
Really? Then why does it go up?
It's called an entropy increase. I've just explained it.
You
it's called,
fucking retard.
It's diffusing.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
It's just an effect of entropy. That's all that you're witnessing when you describe it making its way from ground level where it's produced to the top of Everest, getting thinner and thinner and thinner as it goes because more and more is being produced beneath it. So it becomes less, but it's making its way up by way of entropy. And if the sky was a vacuum, an extra available, non-existent, fake bullshit space for the gas to fill it would, because it's expanding in all directions. Why? Who cares? It just does. And if the sky was a vacuum, gas would fill it.
So does it expand in all directions, or does it go up?
Here we go again.
Yeah, it expands in all directions.
Ed. Hey, Mr. Ed, hold on a second. Mr. Ed, look, can I direct your attention to 25 minutes after the hour in live stream text here in Discord? Can you go ahead and read those citations right there, please, out loud?
No, I was asking a question.
But they're specifically an answer to your question.
This is going to answer your fucking question. Now, read them.
Then you read it.
You've asked for an answer. He's literally posted you citations to answer your question, and you're not interested, are you, scumbag?
I don't get.
You don't care about the answer.
You, Nathan.
Yeah, you don't care about the answer.
You, Nathan. I'm not going to read it. You have to read.
So I'm not going to read it. The answer I've been asking for the last 20 straight minutes, I'm not going to read. You're a scumbag waste of time. You're only here to cause chaos.
Yep.
No, I'm not.
I'll go ahead
and read simply asking a question.
Yeah, well, you can shut up then.
Fuck up. .edu. I'll go ahead and read them. In gases, the particles move rapidly in all directions, frequently colliding with each other in the side of the container. From NASA, the molecules are in constant random motion. From sciencelearn.org, they vibrate and move freely at high speeds. From chemistry department at Purdue, they vibrate and move freely at high speeds, Ed. Get
it? You're all not hearing what he's asking. What he's asking is, why does gas go up? But that's the same question as he asked about helium. He doesn't understand there's a difference in the density of the gases. He doesn't understand that other gases as well as helium also rise. He doesn't understand that hydrogen actually rises higher than helium. He doesn't understand all these things. So gas to him is just the one thing that's all exactly the same. And it all should go up if any of it goes up. That's what he doesn't understand.
He also doesn't understand that the very question violates his claim of gravity, making gas go down.
So you're done. You're done, Mr. Ed.
So it doesn't expand in all directions.
Yeah, it does.
You're done, Mr. Ed.
An idiot.
It does. So which is...
I'll take him if you want.
God, thank you.
No, we're not.
Dumbass.
Okay.
But feel free to conclude, Brian.
No, it's just he is asking, why does gas go up? A few minutes ago, he was asking, why does helium go up? You know, he doesn't seem to understand that density is the reason for why things go to where they go. Like, helium goes higher than oxygen because it is less dense than oxygen. You know, it can't be below oxygen. It can't support oxygen. Oxygen can support helium. You know, everything works off of density. So what he needs to do is learn what density is. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's asking about gases, and he's putting all the gases in the same box as if they're all exactly the same and should all go to the exact same positions in the sky. So as far as he's concerned, if helium goes up, then all gases should go up and keep on going, which is, again, completely against his own belief, his own model. You know, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He didn't even know what lifting gases were. He doesn't know anything. That's what's wrong with the both sides. They don't know what they're talking about. They don't, so they get frustrated.
Yeah. Try to keep it concise. We're done with Ed, Mr. Ed.
Yeah, he's a dumbass.
A few other people in Discord want to give their 2 pennyworth. Feel free.
He's here just to make a mockery of it.
Yeah, turn it into the Jeremy Kyle show. Agreed.
He doesn't want to understand. He doesn't want to listen and try and understand. He just keeps repeating himself, and oh my god, makes my head want to explode.
Show me the dome. Show me the dome. I'll fucking wrap it around his head.
I'll show you.
Excellent.
Here's the dome for you, Ed.
As much as it's frustrating for you in Discord, this is productive. Yeah, I know it seems like it's irritating. Yes, he's just saying the same thing, but it's another opportunity to go through the same point, so don't get frustrated as much as he's an irritating prick.
I have a question for QE, if I may.
Is it about Lite?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
QE, solid liquids and gases, can they be transparent, translucent, that sort of thing?
Yes.
Container is a solid liquid or gas. Why would we expect to see? What if we open it?
You're chopping for me, Dave.
Try once more.
If the container is solid or gas or combination of, why would we expect to see? Or what if?
I can't understand him, Nathan.
Yeah, I can't make out your question.
His question was...
Hey, Dave, drop back in, come back in again.
I would have a question for QE too.
While Dave's dropping, hold on. Go ahead, Marman.
Yeah, QE, about the double slit thing.
Are y'all hearing me now? Is it better?
Yes, we can hear you much better now, but Marman's just in the middle of a question. I'm really sorry, Dave.
No problem.
No, let Dave go first.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, go ahead, Dave.
If the said container is a solid liquid or gas or a combination of, why would we assume that we can see it, or what if we are seeing it? If it can be, transparent or.
Yeah, they're assuming. Yeah, now it can't be a gas. It's not a gas. So liquid. I don't know about that one. It has to have a solid barrier. Good.
Question is why would we expect to see it? I believe is his question.
If a solid can be if we could see through it or whatever, why would we expect to see it? Or what if we are seeing it? We're just seeing through it.
We don't have to see it because it's a necessary antecedent consequent. It has to be there.
I agree with that. But we're being asked why we can't show it or see it. What if we are seeing it? What if we are showing it?
Because it's a what if, because you don't know. So I could say, well, what if the blue is the dome, even though it goes black, right? And then I could say, well, what if it's not the blue and it's a transparent something beyond the blue? Well, then it's not the blue. Oh, I don't know, in other words. Well, why not just say, I don't know? But I know we must have containment, and that's all I do know.
I agree. I'm fine with that.
And we proved that.
Yeah, to deny it means you must fulfill the following question, which is, can you have gas pressure without a container? And if your answer's yes, because I think the sky is a massive space and we don't have a container, all right, well then you need to show that. Will anybody ever show gas pressure without a container? No. It's a necessary antecedent. You must have containers to have the gas pressure in the first place.
Yeah, because it's necessary antecedent consequent game. You see, if the consequent is filet mignon and the necessary antecedent is a cow, if it's already clearly established that to have filet mignon, cows must exist. If that's a factual statement, and it is, then if someone slaps a filet mignon down on the table, then I know with absolute certainty that the cow exists without ever seeing or needing to see the cow, or how long the cow's tail is, or the color of the cow, right? Or data for a cow. So the gas or air pressure in this is filet mignon, the container's the cow. Follow? Easy.
I even better than the filet mignon. I don't know who came up with this to credit them, but somebody came up with this and it's perfect. It's honey. Without the bee, there can be no honey. And if you say, well, what about synthetic honey? Well, that's not honey. So to have actual honey, you've got to have had a bee at some stage, right? Doesn't matter how small amount of bees or whatever. They've got to be bees for you to have honey. So once someone slaps some honey on the table in front of you, you know that there's been a bee at some stage. You don't have to see the bee. You don't need the hive bringing to the table. You know there's been a bee involvement, right? And the same applies to the sky. There must be containment at some stage, otherwise we wouldn't have gas pressure.
I like mine better. I like the hive, though. That was nice.
Quickly.
Yours was better because that commercial, where's the beef?
Where's the beef? I don't think anybody's back there.
Can I ask my
And also,
question?
that works for a New York strip too. Now, remember, works for a New York strip.
New York strip, it worked. Yes.
So Kiwi, I looked up.
Hold on, 10th man. I think Moleman's trying to respond. Go ahead, Moleman.
Yeah, I had a question for QE about the delay choice experiment.
Okay.
Yeah. So the knowledge of the which path information was that caused the collapse of the wave function, right?
We went over this the other day. Are you going to ask me the same question?
That's correct.
No, not the same
Yes,
one.
the answer's yes.
Yes.
Okay. The answer's yes.
So doesn't God know the information all the time, every time?
Look at you.
That's a good question. Can you repeat that? Hold on. Nobody interrupt. I want him to repeat it. Hold on.
Yeah.
Can you repeat the question? It's a good question.
Okay.
If you have
This
all
is-
knowledgeable or
this-
God
No,
does.
QE's rumpusing him. Hold on. I want the question repeated in clear air.
Rumpusing me, QE.
Yeah, let's, joking aside. Please, can you repeat the
He asked me a question. I was getting ready to answer in depth, but go ahead. I don't mean the rumpus shit. Go on.
Yeah, so if God is all-knowing, he'd always know the which path information on the experiment.
Hold on, that wasn't your question.
Well, my question was that if God is all-knowing, wouldn't he always know the witch path information?
Are you done?
Yeah.
All right. So Mole Man's going to get a star because I've been waiting for somebody to ask me this question for 4.5 years. You know, when I first presented this to my daughter when she was 9 years old, without just a 9-year-old, she asked that same question. I was so proud of her. And I remember I mentioned this a couple times. I said, "Oh, you're almost there. Go ahead and ask me it." And then the person would do it, wouldn't do it. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's too simple of a question to ask.
No. It's a wonderful question. I was prouder than a game friggin' rooster. I was shocked because she had paid attention and asked that question. Right? You ready? You ready for the answer?
Yeah.
You see, God is outside the program. He is not subject to its rules. Just like a game designer isn't subject to the rules of the game he just created. God is outside the universe. The concept of time and space is meaningless and confirmed by quantum mechanics, even for us. What does he need to see or know about our reality other than what we see or know? As everything else is existing as a wave function, our consciousness is dependent upon his. He can see the end from the beginning without impacting free will. Another gem at the heart of quantum mechanics, right? That's the answer. He doesn't need to see anything that we don't see because everything exists as a wave function. That's the way he set it up. Without it, there would be no free will.
Got a follow-on question. Let's see if you ask it. I asked this question. I had a follow-on question. See if you ask that.
Me?
When I asked it, I had a follow-on question, right? Because well, I'll give you your answer so I don't spoil it for the question. You described a band and someone falling over, just so to remind you of what the question I asked was. Can you remember what that was? See if he asks it.
I was waiting for that question. Yeah, let's see if he asks it.
Do you have any questions to follow up with, Mole Man? Go ahead.
Not much. I'm just wondering on predeterminism, because if he knows everything, then he knows what I'm gonna do, and I don't have any free will. But I guess it's irrelevant. I don't know what follow-up question you had.
No. Well, you've shrugged off the answer. So the answer was in the same way. If you've got a game that's been developed by a game developer, once it's put out to market and the people are playing on it, the developer in that analogy is God. And he doesn't give a shit what the people are playing, but he understands the parameters that they're playing with, and potentially could go in and watch. So from that aspect, I'm leading you now. It could be a bad analogy. No, you're just going to brush that off though, by the sounds of things.
Well, I want to respond to this.
Hold on, Paul. Hold on.
I mean, I guess it's just the outcome is predetermined. I mean, I don't know.
No, it's not.
What's the question?
No, it's not. It's not predetermined. It is not.
But he's getting there. He's getting there. Carry on, Mole Man.
But God knows. God knows what's going to happen. So there is knowledge of what's going to happen, even before the experiment.
He's got there. He's there.
Yeah. The Lord can see the end from the beginning, right? Without impacting free will. How can he do that? And it's at the heart of quantum mechanics. An example,
I think he can't.
A parade winding through a city, right? If you're on a 50-story building, you can see the lead paraders along and through the end, even the assembly area, right? Whereas those viewing from the ground can only see a limited amount in their viewing area. If they're standing on the street, they can't see the whole thing. But based on, in this case, the creator's position, based on his position, he can see everything. So if you're on a 50-story building and a tuba player, he's watching a parade, and the tuba player trips and knocks down 5 people in front of him like dominoes, did God cause it? Or did he observe it based on his position?
And furthermore, does he obviously know that the guy in front of the tuba player, when he stumbles and falls, given his vantage point, is going to fall, therefore knowing what's going to happen next, but he's not in any way intervening in the free will of the guy who's just stripped over his shoelaces, right? But he's still watching it and knows what's going to happen next.
But I think in that analogy, he only sees it in 3 dimensions. He doesn't observe it in time. He can't move in time.
Should he be seeing it in 4th dimensional space-time? What do you mean?
Just time. Yeah, time.
Okay.
He doesn't know. He doesn't know where the thing is heading for, or what happened in the past or in the future. What's going to happen? He doesn't.
Yeah, he
see
knows
that.
everything from the end, from the beginning. Yeah, he's timeless. The book states it throughout.
You can't put a limit on the limitless.
Yeah, but on your analogy.
Yeah, but our idea hold on. Our idea of what time is merely just our arbitrary description of something. It's not really a thing, is it? Time isn't actually a thing when you say time. But when we describe from the beginning to the end, you're describing something in terms of a contextual amount of period. Now, the period itself we can arbitrarily call time, but that isn't actually a thing, is it?
Well, yeah, no, but it's just, yeah, I can't observe anything happening in the future now.
Sure,
if I could, then I wouldn't have free will.
Sure, but by analogy, when QE described overlooking a parade with all these different brass instruments playing and observing somebody fall at the back and knock over people at the front, you can appreciate that that analogy is descriptive of somebody just overlooking, not necessarily influencing, but they know what's going to be the outcome.
Well, I mean, he can't view it in different times, just one time, the 50th floor.
Who said he can't?
I mean, if I go like that in the analogy that you gave, the viewer only can view what's going to happen. It doesn't know what will happen.
Yeah, but if you could take that to the analogy of the computer programmer, and you know all of the working parameters of the game that's being played, there's nothing to say that you could go into, for the sake of analogy, the server, and say, based on the parameters that are currently going on, what will happen in the future. And without time for the player elapsing, the person who's the programmer could see what the outcome of a particular match is going to be, for the sake of argument, based on the parameters in the system he's created. Well, the same is true for God.
Yep.
He doesn't have any parameters of time applicable to him. That's only applicable to us within the created world we live in.
But that analogy goes against free will, because if you have the parameters and can calculate the outcome based on those, then there's no free will.
Well, he can. We can't.
We're not talking about his free will. We're talking about ours.
Just because he knows what's going to happen doesn't mean we we don't have the will to change it.
Well, no, but let's say that.
Could I say something about that?
Okay.
He can, Brian. Just let Moleman give Moleman his response time, and then yes, you can go next. Go ahead, Moleman.
Yeah, I have to go really soon. But like, if for the sake of the argument, we can compare the reality into a simulator or simulation, and then there is the creator of the simulation. And if he goes to the servers and checks the parameters, and by that knows the outcome, then the parameters are set, and we don't have any free will.
No, you're
because
missing.
he knows what's going to happen.
You're saying the same thing over again.
What thing?
Can I say something on it now, Nathan?
Yeah, go ahead.
About free will, more man. In life, we all have different lives, and in those lives, we all have different challenges. Your life had different challenges from mine, and you have free will on how you decide to deal with those challenges. So, God knows that eventually you will end up at the gates of heaven, but it depends on how long it takes you to get there. That comes down to your choices and how you deal with your challenges in life.
But I think
you always have free will.
Well, I have different issues with free will. Like I can't will to be gay because I'm not. So that's a limit on my free will. Because I just can't will it.
But that's a sexual orientation.
Hold on a second. You still have the choice, though.
Yeah, you can still kiss a man if you wanted to.
Can I say something?
You can still kiss a man.
Go on.
It would just.
Can I say something?
It would just be lip service if that's all you do.
You can just pay it lip service.
Nervous.
Can I say
Not
something?
gay if you don't push back.
Go on, Paul. Go on.
Okay, as a materialist, if God does not exist, honestly, you're the one that doesn't have free will. Everything is just chemical processes bouncing back and forth and just responding to the environment in which you're in. So ultimately, the materialist, there is no free will in your environment, no matter how you package it, try to explain it, there's nothing. Now, the other thing when it comes to God, now this is the way I've always kind of tried to illustrate it, I've said it many times on the server. God has limited his sovereignty, which means he doesn't invoke his free will onto us, or he doesn't invoke his will on us. He gives us free will. But he's also limited our choice, which means we can't choose anything we can do, like you just said. There's certain things I can choose to be an NBA player, but that will probably never happen. There's certain things I will never do because I just don't have the ability or the capability to do that thing. So there's a limit in the choice, and God has also limited his sovereignty. And the only way we can have free will is if God has limited his sovereignty over us to give us free will.
As it was to Molman, did you want to respond to that?
Yeah, I think like free will, I can will ice cream or not, but if someone before me hadn't like conceptualized and made ice cream, then I can't will it. It doesn't exist. So I can will things that exist, and I mean, I get hungry, I get tired, shit like that. I can choose to sleep or not, or eat or not, but most choices that we make, in my view, is like
I think you made an error
wait a minute.
saying you can will ice cream. When you're trying to say you can create ice cream is free will, or are you saying to choose ice cream?
I'm not sure either of you are right. If you've got 3 ice creams and I ask for 4, I don't know, maybe Sleeping Warrior could give us some clarity on this.
Nice one. Hey, that's real simple if you want to keep it biblical. Jesus, while he was here on earth claiming to be God in human flesh, said this: "You do not come to me because you love darkness more than light." So if he's saying those words to a people that were fighting him, he's saying that they chose darkness over light. So isn't that Jesus saying that they have a choice in the matter, and it plays into the whole creation of God somehow?
On that cliffhanger, I'll say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G+ Panels for making today's after show possible. Of course, a massive thank you to all of you in either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams for hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
What a day! What a lovely day!